We out here, baby.
What's happening?
David, I'm excited.
Oh, you and I both. Finally, can we tell like the backstory kind of?
Let's do it.
So,
Listen, because everybody's probably so confused. I've been being dramatic on Instagram. So come on over here. So yes, let's get to it.
Well, I gotta say publicly that that Koereyelle, she inspired a lot of people to jump into podcasting.
Come on, David.
We've got to start right there.
Let's start
We're starting
there.
right there. So I remember coming to your studio, I had that joint all laid out, just killing the game. I'm like, ooh, I want to do that. And I started doing
And you did that.
I did that. And I was just following like your blueprint. I'm like, this is so dope. She gets so many views, so much reaction. I remember asking you like, yo, how's it going? You like, oh, it's growing. I'm making money. I'm like, dang, this is dope. And I took the reins.
I was about to say, David,
you stopped. Why you stopped?
Listen, so I have gone through transitions, and and we all go through transitions. But I definitely have come to the place personally where I feel like the things that I'm doing professionally, the things that I'm promoting, the things that I am preaching about really have to be in alignment with my true values.
Sure.
And Confessions of a Workaholic, which was my podcast, was all about promoting entrepreneurship, which I definitely still have a huge heart for entrepreneurship because it unlocks our freedom, right? I still truly believe that. However, I have always gone on record to say, I want some honey to go with my money.
Ooh.
And so I feel like, in only focusing on entrepreneurship, make money, start a business, I was doing what the rest of the world does, which is tells women, and specifically Black women, that should be your only focus. That should be your priority. And we just kind of let our personal goals go to the side, or we just wait for them to kind of come along when they take just as much work as work. And so Confessions of a Workaholic, it was an amazing way for me to connect with my audience, but now it's about a deeper conversation.
I feel that. And there are a lot of people now, like, it's almost like the narrative, is that the word?
Narrative, yeah.
The narrative around, like, women in entrepreneurship is like, yo, go make your money. Don't worry about the relationship side. There's like women, I'm just going to be a boss. And I mean, for some to their detriment, right? Because I'm so focused on building becoming this figure, right? And the narrative is that this woman is always alone. You know what I mean? Like, or I don't want to make too much because I'll be intimidating for
it's a real
men.
thing.
But I still want to go get my goal. So forget that. I'm going to go get my goal, and they just going to have to deal with it. So I can respect your transition.
And I think that I believe that a lot of women can relate to that. And even what you just said about thinking that has to be our priority, to the point where you literally put your everything into that one thing and everything else kind of falls to the wayside. And when it comes to, in my opinion, when it comes to family, becoming a mother, becoming a wife, those things were a major priority for me. And so that's why it's always been so important for me to preach the message of putting just as much time and attention and intention into that side as you do into the rest of it.
Absolutely. And you talked about the family, and I gotta just go back to the days of Single Wives Club. I can imagine some of the conversations, because you're leading like droves of women into preparing to be a wife. But people were saying, well, Koereyelle, you're not a wife.
They were hating on me, David.
They was hating on you. But I think you saw something. Like you were in the process right along with them, saying, I'm preparing to be a wife, and now you are. So they need to go back and watch all them old videos.
Listen, because your girl was giving the game. I was literally everything that I was learning, I was, creating resources behind it. And the whole thing with the Single Wives Club, for those of y'all who have not heard of the Single Wives Club, it was all about preparing single women to become wives. Whether y'all realize it or not, you can do a quick Google search and, prove this to be true. There are very limited, if any, resources out there that prepare unwed women to become wives, or unengaged, just single women preparing to become wives, or single women preparing to become mothers. There are not resources out there for that. And so the Single Wives Club was my shot at trying to create a resource for other women, knowing that I needed those same resources too. And so you're definitely right. That was the number one obstacle, challenge, I call them haters, that I would always run into, because it was always, well, how are you going to teach me how to do something? And that was never the mission. The mission was, I'm an educator. I created this educational platform, and then I brought in wives and experts to do the teaching. So it definitely has always been what I feel like is just an educational resource. Like, we invest in every other area of our lives when we have a goal. But when it comes to marriage, we just think we should just like feel good. And that's not always the case. There is some intention and a whole lot of work that has to go into it. And so I just went and put in the work.
Yeah. So can you tell me the transition from to entrepreneur, preparing to be a wife, and now you are a wife? Can you tell me what that transition, like, did you have to do things differently? Did you have to stop working so long? Or like, what was that transition like?
Let me not lie, because he is in the building.
You gotta go in the other room, okay?
So I think that the beautiful thing about our relationship is, even before I met him, I knew that whatever relationship I got into, I wanted to be 100% myself. I didn't want to play games. I didn't want to put on. I didn't want to pretend like I was anything or anybody other than who I was. And I was very transparent with my goals, what it is, what it is that I'm working on, like what I see for myself and what it's going to take for me to be able to get there. And so the same work ethic that I had the day we met is the same work ethic that I have now, but now I have his partnership. Now I have his support to help. So I don't have to work as many long hours because it's not just me by myself anymore. So the work ethic is still there, but the partnership makes it a little bit easier.
So we got to give some advice to all these single wives out there that you was teaching, you was preaching this stuff, right? How did you get the ring?
So listen, this is the thing, and let me just make this very clear. Getting the ring is not the end all be all. And David, you're a married man, so you know that just putting the ring on the finger, like, that is a very important, a very strong symbol of your love, but it is not. That's not the goal. My goal is healthy, happy, lifelong marriage, like commitment, partnership. And so for those things, if you want something more than just the ring and the wedding, you have to put more into it. It's not just about the superficial things, which a lot of women think, well, if I look the part, then I can get the man. You could get him, but can you keep him? You can get him, but is it going to be the one worth getting? Are you attracting him with something of value? And so in order to be able to be a point of attraction, in order to attract someone of value, you have to be a point of attraction that matches that. And so because I knew I wanted something different, I had to be willing to do something different. And it was real work. Like, that same work ethic, that same intention that I put into building my businesses, I had to put it into preparing to become a wife. Because I made the mistake of getting the ring the first time and I wasn't ready. And so I knew that the ring is not, like, I want one and I want it to be nice. I want one and I want it to be nice. But it's not the end all be all.
The first time.
David, don't act brand new. This is the tell all. You acting like you don't know?
Well, they don't.
So y'all listen.
Come on. Like, we not about to just scheme over the first time.
Okay, so every lesson, I think that every experience brings a lesson, right? And I know 1,000% that me being engaged, being unprepared to be engaged the first time around, led to me starting the Single Wives Club. So a painful situation, one that killed with a T at the end, my pride literally was what gave birth to my purpose. So yes, I was engaged to be married. Quick, long story short, 24 years old. You don't know this, David, because you're not a woman. But ladies, y'all know we've had these timelines since we was about 5 years old, playing dress up. Like, we had the baby dolls, and we had in our mind when we were going to have the real baby, when we were going to have the husband. And in my mind, that was 25. So at 24, the clock was ticking. And I mean, it was tick-tocking to the point where I was like, okay, I got to do something about it. So made the list, the infamous list, signed, sealed, delivered it to God, said a prayer, did all of the things, spelled out what I wanted. And literally, this was October. By the next March, I had manifested this man, but he was a complete mess. And so
did you manifest a complete mess because you were?
Absolutely. If we had some sound effects, we would drop the bomb on that one. I was. And that is why any of the things y'all hear me say is coming from a place of I've been there. Not don't do that, but I've been there. Let me show you a better way because, baby, I have been through it. So, yes, I was definitely a mess, and that's why I manifested a mess. So, I've been there, done that. Y'all gonna have to, we're gonna talk about that at a later date because it gets juicy. But it was definitely I will say it was at that time, the hardest thing that I had ever dealt with, but it definitely was like the platform for everything else to be born.
Got you. So, like, can you talk about the dating climate right now? Like, what do you see just ruminating? We trying words today. What is going on in the single woman
world right now?
Yeah.
Listen, okay, so I am a married woman. You mentioned that. I am a married woman these days. So what I can say about the dating climate, regardless of what's going on in the dating climate, because when I was like getting back out there, the new thing was like Tinder and the dating apps, and for me that was scary. It was intimidating, but it did not matter if I had a goal. So I don't necessarily want to talk so much about the climate, because I think if we talk about the climate, there's a bunch of excuses. We're in Atlanta. You know what they say about the men in Atlanta. Like that can just come with a whole lot of stuff that doesn't really matter, because when you got a goal, you're going to get to your goal. And ladies, y'all know when we have these goals to make more money, to lose weight, to get a new position, to climb the corporate ladder, like it doesn't matter. We're going to make it happen. And so it doesn't matter what the climate is like. What matters is you being ready and willing to do the work and being intentional about it, and not feeling like this is the one area of your life where you're just going to hope that things come together. I mean, you're talking about to entrepreneurs all the time, and you know the level at which people invest in their businesses.
For sure.
If only we could get women to see their literal lives, because this is what we're talking about here. We're talking about your actual life, not just what you do during the day, what people see, but like when you go home at night. Like that is so important. And if you are not willing to invest in that, then is it worth it doing all the other stuff?
Yeah, I want to tell you a little bit about my my wife. When I met her, she was saying because she has a daughter. It's now my daughter. But she said that she was prepared to spend the rest of her life single. She's like, she was done, and she wrapped in her mind that
she had just settled into
going
that.
To get married. Have you ever had thoughts like that?
So I never had the thought. This was my thought. And listen, in the comments, I ain't gonna tell your business, but in the comments, just let me know if y'all can relate to this. My thought was not that I was not gonna get married. Like, I knew that. I really, really believe that God loves me. Like, he showed me so many times. So I knew that God was not going to forget that one very important thing on my wish list. I knew he was not going to forget it. But what I had started to believe is that I might not really like him that much. Because I had met a lot of great guys who would have been great husbands for someone that was not me. I thought I was going to meet a great guy that wasn't going to feel like my guy. And I was starting to accept it. I wasn't okay with it, but I was starting to feel like, okay, well, a good, as long as he's a good man, type of thing. So
the goal was at that point the ring, no matter who brings it.
No, sir. The goal was the family.
Okay.
The goal was the family. So it never was just a man. It never was just like a father for my kids or a man to marry. It was a good man that I knew would be a great father, that I knew would be a great. So I was never willing to settle on that part of it. I just thought like I wasn't gonna have butterflies. And then I started to think, well, is that silly? Like, is that even a thing? But now I know that's a thing. Now I know that that's possible. Now I know that you can have that, even if it feels like when I was cursing him out before I met him. In my mind, like, where are you? You're on your way. I would tell myself, like, I know he's on the way. Like, I know God is preparing him. He's on the way. But his car broke down. Like, where is he? But when I say he was worth the wait, like, 1,000 times over.
So how did you not mess it up when it came? Because you could be scarred from all this other stuff. How did you know?
I have to give him a microphone.
I need to know how you felt when this thing happened. When he came, did you know that was it? Did you get butterflies? Did you get the butterflies and be like, no, those can't be butterflies. That can't be right.
Settle down in there. I
want to know what's going on.
You know what? I think that because I had, so again, y'all we're going to talk about this another time, because I did this little Tinder challenge. That's how I got back out into the dating world. But I think because I did that, it put me in the space of being open to meeting someone, having the right attitude. You know how the women can be when they are clearly uninterested, like clearly.
And they're like that because of past situations.
Yep. So definitely again, I've said intention probably 1,000 times, but that truly is what it comes down to. It's not just saying what you want, but being intentional about what you're doing, how you're talking, who you're spending time with, what you're accepting. Like, all of that matters. And so I have been so intentional about how I was spending my time. And I didn't know, like, when I met him, like, it was love at first sight. But the first date that we went on, I definitely remember saying, I'm going to keep him around. You know, like, I want to hang out with him again. Which for me, big deal. I don't like people like that. You know, I get tired of people. You say one wrong thing. I was real petty. You say one wrong thing, and it's like, nah, okay, this ain't going to work. But it was such a great first date, and I'm so hard to impress. And it wasn't impressing me like rolling out the red carpet type of date. We went to like R. Thomas, which is like,
right.
I probably had like a $8 salmon meal or something. But so it wasn't super fancy. Wasn't super fancy, right? So it wasn't super fancy like that. But we had such an amazing conversation. And I don't really like talking to people that much. So it was so many things that it's like, I have all these things that I don't like, but I don't really mind answering the phone for him. You know, it's all of these things that I thought, but it was like, no, it was all of those people. It just wasn't the right person. So there were a lot of those little things.
I love it. Give me the top 3 reasons why women are single.
Ooh, David, it's probably about
top 3.
10. Okay. So the top 3. Top 3, I will say, number 1 is making the mistake that I was making, thinking you have all the time in the world, thinking that this man is just going to show up at your doorstep. Yeah. I love Uber Eats, but I've never seen an Uber Eats driver that I just want to just marry. He's not coming. Like, your husband, it's not going to be him. It might, but it's probably not going to be. Like, you have to take action. You have to take initiative. You have to leave your house. You have to be open-minded. You have to do all of the things to position yourself. So number 1 is you're just not dating. You're not taking any action. You're not doing any of the things. Number 2, I would say you are dating, but you don't know what you want. So because you don't know what you want, you're out here just kind of willing to accept anything. Right. And so, yeah. We can go down a rabbit hole with that, but you don't know what you want.
Let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. We don't got to go deep in the rabbit hole, but let's go down it a little bit.
So not knowing what you want will literally, confusion costs you. I believe that in any area, confusion costs you. If you don't have clarity, if you don't know what it is that you're working towards, what you're looking for, how are you going to know when you found it? So for me, I had to get over looking for like the physical things, all of the things that we think that we want. And I know 100%, even though I can't verbalize it sometimes, but it was my spirit that recognized him. Because he'll tell you, I've told this story, he had braces when I met him, y'all. What? And I just it was like, bro, this is a child. You know, like in my mind, I'm like, who is this little kid? So my spirit, seriously, I mean, it sounds funny. I swear to you, he will tell you. The look on my face was like, bro, no, it's not happening. But I gave him my number. Why? I don't know. It was nothing but spirit. So that was what was important to me, though. Now, my spirit knew when the confirmation was the first date. The confirmation was like, okay, we clicked. It was literally like, we go together, on date 1, which was great. So knowing what you want beyond just superficial, petty things is super important.
Quick, though, because we got to touch on, what if you meet someone you're not attracted to? Uh-huh. And then you get in a relationship and you're not attracted to the person, then what's the line between settling and not?
Quick note. My man is fine. I just need to say that. He just had braces. Very attractive. So just how the people do on the internet, just because you asked that follow-up question, you meet somebody you're not attracted to, I was attracted to him. He just had braces and it threw me off a little bit. But I think that you have to know what's important to you. Like, settling to me is settling for someone who's going to mistreat me. That is settling. Like, I could fix you up, clean you up, get you a Gucci belt, take you out, do whatever I got to do to clean you up to my standards, so to speak, if you're willing to do that. Gotcha. And we could ride off into the sunset. Nobody has settled. But if there is something that in your belief system or your morals, your values, the way that you treat, like those are the things that I cannot bend on. Those are the things that, in my opinion, I'm settling for this. If we are, and I feel like equally yoked is like a term that's kind of thrown around and not everybody really knows what it means all the time. But if you are not in alignment with one another. If y'all are not going in the same direction, to me, that's settling, because you're going to try to fit in, align with their plan, knowing that that's not truly what you want, what's going to make you happy, all of those things. I don't think physical, like, cute is for kids. That's what I think. I think that, get over that. Like, find something that you like. As long as there's something that you like about this person, like, you're not, like, turned off by them. That's a different thing. Sure. You cannot be my type, but I'm not, like, gonna throw up when I see your face. Like, you know, like, it's...
I had a friend, she really liked this guy, but he was just too short.
Okay, well, wait a minute now. No. Now, you said attractive. You didn't say short. You didn't say short, David.
That's what I'm saying. I see now how we can go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah, see?
But I think they have to identify what is truly important.
Yes,
right? Because they're not going to be... You can't, like, build it, write it on paper, and it appears.
And
right?
Well, you can, but that's why you got to be careful what you wish for. You have to be careful what you put on that paper. The other thing, too, though, is that I often say, like, I believe your perfect mate is being prepared for you. But I have to put the disclaimer out there that perfect does not mean without flaw. That does not mean that this man is going to show up, like, squeaky clean, you know. We are all works in progress. And it's so easy for us to know we need to work on ourselves, but then expect him to show up like picture perfect and then get an attitude when he's not. But give him grace and give yourself some grace.
Gotcha. Do we do 3? Was that 3?
No, that was only 2.
Okay, give me a third one.
Okay, so the third one is knowing what you want, but then settling for something less. Because a lot of people have narrowed it down. They figured it out. They know what they're, like, what's going to move them. But then this guy comes along and it's like, well, he's all right. I am. Like, the clock is ticking. I'm about to be 35 now. So I'll just settle into this. And again, I think that if you are not true to yourself, forget what your mama want, you know, what social media says looks good, what society tries to pressure you to do. If you in your heart of hearts, like when you go home alone at night, if that person is not truly happy, then I don't think that it's even worth, like, wasting your time.
What are some of the conversations that you are having with yourself? Because I can just imagine that the old Co shows up and could quite possibly kill this deal, right? Are there any things that you had to kind of say, all right, Co, you tripping right now. Come on, if we're being transparent. It says Co tells all, and we need to tell it all.
Oh, so I think if you asked him, the bossiness might show up occasionally, even though I try to.
I don't want to ask him. I want to ask you, and you own it. See, it's hard to say.
Yeah, I'm not owning it, right?
You are not owning it.
I'm not owning it.
I need you to own it. What is it that could have cost you everything?
Definitely knowing when to turn it off. And then when to turn it on too, because the opposite side of not being bossy, but being a boss and displaying that, the opposite of that, I am a very private person. I'm used to being a solopreneur. I'm used to making all the decisions myself. I'm not used to running my ideas by people or letting people know what I have going on. So that, I think, is probably an area that I am still working on, is communicating my plans and my goals and my things for my business. What has always been my business, but is now a family business. So I'll say that's probably number one thing. Don't make me say anything else, David.
I'm going to make you say something else. What do you think to get, and I just understand marriage is not, roses and you have to just continue to grow. What areas do you struggle with right now that you need to grow in?
So I said communication. I didn't say communication, but that breaks down to communication. Yeah. Taking off the boss hat, for sure.
And let me give you one.
Okay.
When I get, like, angry, I don't get loud. I just withdraw, right? So I am extremely passive aggressive. She's like, well, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I'm good. And I just go to my office, right? That is that's something I deal with today, right? And I know when it's happening, it's like, all right, Dave, come on. You got to be better than this. This is something that we're working on. And it's still a challenge. It's still something that I'm fighting with. Do you have anything?
Do you have anything else to say?
And I feel like Kendrick was like, yo, you say it. You know what it is.
Do what? I don't think I know what it is. I think those are really big ones. Yeah. And then I think I think it really boils down to communication. I think the communication thing has layers, because part of it is me not being used to sharing, and then another part is me attempting to share and then me leaving a whole bunch of information out. Just share, just it'd be holes in it. That is something that I'm working on, as in today. So.
I think I even saw you commit. Like, in the world of social media, it ain't real till you really start putting it on the gram. Can you take me back to the moment where you're like, okay, maybe my homegirls know about them, ran them through that filter with my homegirls, they feeling them.
And then it went to the close friends.
Yeah, close friends. And, it was the funniest thing. It was the funniest thing. You would make a post with them.
The emoji face.
You put an emoji over them, and that was for mad long. It was for mad long.
A very long time. I've never dated in the social media era. I've never had an internet boyfriend, and so that was like sacred to me. Like posting someone.
Crazy. I've known you for a long time, and I never remember you.
No, I have never. I've never had an internet boyfriend, and so for me to like have one was like, I gotta make sure this is, I had to make sure it was real. And it was, even though I knew, like I said, on date number 1, I had to like give him some time, to, clear his closet. So until the closet was clear, his face was covered with them.
Okay. Okay. When you say clear his closet.
David.
I don't.
You have to clear the books.
Are we telling all?
I didn't have no closet to clear. Y'all don't want to tell his business. My closet was clear, baby. Clear, spick and span, squeaky clean.
I love it.
But
do you recommend that? Because you see some people, we on the gram today.
Oh, please don't do that. Oh, that makes me nervous for you. Unless you don't care. Some people don't care. Like, I follow a very prominent, it's weird, celebrity, I guess. I don't know if celebrity or not, but who always like is rotating people. And I feel like I see what people say about these people, and I feel like, oh my God, I would never want anybody to say that about me. But obviously these people don't care about that.
You look crazy. You gotta know you look crazy.
You gotta know you look crazy. However, I kind of almost can not respect it, but can appreciate someone who's willing to be vulnerable again. That's a big thing. Like, you're willing to publicly try this again, lay your heart out there on the line. You kind of almost gotta you gotta respect that.
Yeah, that's real. Goodness gracious. Okay, so I guess we got to talk about like your virtual summit, right? I literally followed your blueprint. All the stuff that you was doing, I just did it. David, right? She's doing events, workshops.
First of all, David want to come up in here in my studio with his 2 chains and tell y'all that he took my play and ran off into the sunshine. But listen, I'm coming back. I'm coming back around.
Welcome back. So you're hosting the virtual summit.
I am.
To help women in their single season.
Yes.
That's hard.
Listen, so this is the thing that I need for y'all to understand, because I feel like a lot of women think that getting married is this long, far off thing. Like, I have 5 years to get ready for it when he finds me one day. It's up to you whether or not that one day is like today or like 10 years from now, based on, again, the intention, the time, and the work that you're willing to put in. And so I believe this can literally be your last single season if you're willing to start doing that work. Because I told y'all from November to May. Well, I didn't tell y'all, but I set the intention in November, met him in May. That's like a season, right? It literally does not have to take you the next 5 years for you to prepare yourself to become a wife. So I am hosting the Single Season Summit on February 13th for 4 hours, y'all. Have you done a 4-hour class before, David?
Oh, yeah, I do all day.
You do all day?
Yeah.
I don't do
we did like a 9 to 9 joint before.
No. Well, listen, we don't have to work up to that. But on February 13th, we're going to start with the 4. I got a VIP option though that's a 5 hour. So that's I'm getting closer. But it's so much information. Like, it's so much that we have to go over to help you get out of your own way. Because that's really what it boils down to. The common denominator in all of my messed up relationships was me. And so I had to figure out, like, why am I continuing to attract people who are X, Y, and Z? And those X, Y, Zs were always changing, but that was always telling me something that I needed to work on within myself. So we're going to talk about it February 13th, Single Season Summit.
See, I would say, like, I'll do, like, entrepreneurship workshops, and honestly, the stuff, like, in terms of, like, building a business or something like that, that stuff is on the internet. But for what you're doing is like internal work.
Whew, it is.
Like, what can they expect on the 13th?
Not for me to not sugarcoat it. I'm not really good at that anyway. And I think that you will appreciate that because I am going to literally spell out not just what I personally did, but what I know to be true when a woman prepares herself, period. And we are literally going to work through breaking up with your bad decisions, your baggage, which a lot of people are holding on to baggage, to toxic ties, unrealistic expectations. Like, we can go on and on about the common mistakes that are keeping these women from aligning with marriage-minded men. That's the thing. It's like I hear women say all the time, there's no men. All the excuses we talked about earlier, but it really comes down to your point of attraction. I spoke with someone last week who met her husband on a dating app. She was 41 when she met him on this dating app. They had one phone call, went on one date, and they've been married for almost 10 years now.
Wow.
Because she made a decision, an intention. And I believe that intention was a point of attraction for that husband. So it literally just comes down to you making the intention and then being able to follow through and do the work. But I'm spelling it out, helping these women figure out how they can become wife-minded. Because I believe that once you become a wife-minded woman, the ring is the natural result.
That's awesome.
Was that one of your bars, David?
That's a bar. Yo, there's a whole bunch of bars. Especially if somebody's watching right now and their anxiety is going through the roof because the 14th is coming up. And it's not even, I don't even think it's the fact that maybe they'll spend the 14th by themselves. It's the fact that they think that other people will see themselves spending another 14th by themselves. Yep. So like I just commend what you're doing because it takes a lot. Like, you have to go to a certain place of like when I was there, which can draw some emotion from you, right? That's just. I
was gonna say Valentine's Day. Anybody who knows me, my friends, y'all know I was the Valentine's Day Grinch. Like, do not call my phone. I don't want to see the pink. Don't give me no heart. Don't bring me. My mom. As sad as this is, but my mom would be like, she would send me stuff on Valentine's Day. Like, I know you ain't got no Valentine, girl. Let me just send you something. And as funny as it is, it's hard. Like, this is a sad time for a lot of women. It's the time when all year long we're scrolling social media, seeing all of the perfect couples, buying each other all of the things, and we already feel like we're lacking something. But for the day to roll around, for it to literally be the celebration of the one thing that you are lacking, and probably the one thing that you want the most, it can definitely be hurtful, especially coming out off of the holidays. Like, if you already had to go home lonely, single, that's a whole nother thing. And so I know that women are beating themselves up around this time. That's why I chose February 13th as the date, to help you get your mind right before you step into Valentine's Day feeling like you're lacking something.
Good. So tell me, what is next for Koereyelle? I need to know so I can try to keep up with your moves.
Listen, so David, you of all people have already been on my neck. Like, where have you been with this podcast? Absolutely. I took some time off, like I told y'all earlier. I really started to feel like I was doing you a disservice by only focusing on make the money, start the business, and not start the family, become a wife, give back to the Black community that I'm always, saying that I love so much. And to me, in order to really rebuild the Black community, it starts with the Black family. Yeah. And in order for us to figure this Black family thing out, it comes down to Black men and Black women getting our ish together. And so I am bending the block, circling back, and bringing y'all the Girl Stop Playing podcast. Ooh, listen, y'all. Because it is time for you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want. And if you want to become a wife, it is going to take some work. So each and every Thursday, starting next week, live at 8 o'clock, David, we're bringing you a live podcast where we're talking all things to help women get themselves together before becoming a wife.
Gotcha. There's somebody that needs the podcast, and I want you to describe that person. Ooh. Describe that person that needs to tune in every single week.
So many people. Definitely the woman that's starting to lose hope, the woman that is feeling like everybody else is going down the aisle. Everybody else is living their dreams, and you're the only one sitting on the sidelines trying to figure out, where is your man? You cursing him out in your head, baby. I feel you. I remember the feeling. If you are mad that, Valentine's Day is coming around, if you are the Grinch, I get it. You need to tune in. If you were recently in a relationship and you are scared to get back out there, you got to tune in. If you are carrying baggage, maybe from your childhood, like we're going to be going deep. You got to tune in. If you've never had the opportunity to sit with a woman who is in a healthy, happy relationship and she's an actual happy wife, you got to tune in. Lots of inspiration for the women who feel like I don't think anybody will understand the feeling of almost like a hopelessness, because this is the one thing that you cannot control. Yeah. And so for that woman, that high achieving woman that feels like she got it all together, looking the part but not necessarily feeling the part, this is for you.
Good. Well, how do they find it? How do they follow it? What do they do right now to make sure they're in tune?
So listen, each and every Thursday, starting next week, we'll be here live at 8 p.m. You can log on to thecoShow.com to tune in.
There it is. Make sure y'all subscribe and share it with a friend. Yes. Everybody needs this. Mom, daughter, aunts, uncles. We have men on too?
We are. I'm going to have you back, David.
Oh, I asked the questions, okay? I'm still trying to figure out this whole daddy, husband, son-in-law.
But it's a lot of people out there that's trying to figure it out too, and you don't have to do that.
I'm with it. I don't know if I want to tell it all.
Next week. Listen, David's not telling it all next week, but he will be back. Peace out, y'all. Next week, tune in.
Cool.
We're off? Are we really off? Or are we fake off? Okay.